Hello, good evening, and welcome back. Well, Greater Manchester Police has finally been called out with serious repercussions for letting us all down in the Greater Manchester area. As we see, Greater Manchester Chief Constable Ian Hopkins quits with immediate effect, hours after his force is placed in special measures for failing to report 80,000 crimes, which is a fifth of all offences for the first 6 months of 2020. And 5 years ago, that they were told, well, you're not really doing your job well enough, so you best improve, otherwise your head's for the block, because you're letting people down, you're not keeping the peace and law and order as you are supposed to, so how's about you get your act together? And that was 5 years ago. Andy Burnham, of course, said, well, the reports come out and, we've made some changes in the next few days, and, we've done so much better since 5 years ago. But they haven't. They really haven't. So Ian Hopkins has stepped down. What about Andy Burnham, the mayor? As he thought, oh shit, maybe I let you guys down as well, and I need to, think about what I should be doing in retaliation to this, and how can I best serve the community as the mayor? No, of course not. He just said, well, the police force is separate from the mayor's office, and I can't be expected to review them every single day. I dip in and out, and it seemed like they were doing an okay job. So, I leave it at that. I am not the head of the police force. I am the mayor. I have a lot of other things to focus on, and I trust them to do their job, and they haven't. That's essentially been his response. So, not taking any responsibility as a leader should. And, of course, that although the deputy has stepped up for the time being, that Andy Burnham still retains political control. Of course, HMRPC will have more of an input into it, as it's got its special measures in place, but still, Andy Burnham retains political control. So inspectors said they had serious cause for concern about the force. GMP Chief Constable Ian Hopkins had been signed off sick since last week from labyrinthitis, ear infection. Andy Burnham retains political control of force with national bodies watching. And let's really hope, that from the grooming gang report, that there is actually a change made here, as they are the main victims that are being let down. However, of course, Manchester is, it's a national trendsetter in terms of how many people that they're going to fine and arrest for COVID lockdown breaches, that if somebody burgles your home, they're not going to be interested. Except if when they burgle, it then goes over the COVID limit, in which case the police will come out in order to fine you for having too many people in your home. And sure, that's supposed to be a joke, but I'm a bit concerned that might be more serious than I envisioned. But they are not interested in the actual crime that takes place, whether that be rape, grooming, burglary, theft. And this is from somebody who does work in the security industry. I see this firsthand on a daily basis, and part of my job is to pick up the pieces and to try and help people out through the private industry and offer them other solutions for their security concerns in order to ensure that this kind of thing doesn't happen again, and to put in preventative measures, excluding the police, in order to ensure that they're kept safe. And yes, of course, this is all through legal means. But the amount of people that I've seen, and including myself, for crimes committed against me in Manchester, where I'm based, that have let me down, I can fully attest to this 100%. Whether it's thefts that have happened to me historically, or if it's more through physical altercations, or if it's through death threats, whatever it might be, that the police have never been there for me at all. They've always let me down, and for everybody that I've spoken to as well, they've said the same thing. The only times that the police in Manchester seem to wish to investigate is if you can do their investigative work for them in order to identify, find, and prove who is responsible for what has happened, in which case they might then investigate. But there was another case for a pub in Manchester City that they were burgled as well. They had CCTV footage of it, And the police said, okay, cool, we will investigate, show us what's happened, and we'll try and catch the culprit responsible. 6 months later, the pub owners got the message through from the police saying, well, we've investigated and we've reviewed the CCTV footage and there's nothing that we can do about it. Consider this case closed. Not only was the pub owner, of course, annoyed and dismayed about this, but was also a little bit bemused and perplexed as to how on earth the police could have looked through the CCTV footage, seeing as they never collected any. And it's this kind of thing that is repeated time and time again. As they go on to mention in case studies as well, when it comes to domestic abuse and sexual abuse and rape, that the police go, oh, okay, well, yeah, that's unfortunate. We'll investigate it for you, and it will just be passed along the chain of command, and no one's going to do anything about it. So as they say, inspectors said they had serious cause for concern about the way England's second biggest police force was being run after it was revealed they had not recorded a fifth of all reported crimes, meaning victims are too often being let down. But of course they will go after COVID breaches, they will go after so-called hate speech on social media. So it seems to me, and maybe this is too cynical or pessimistic, that the way the police force is being run is that they will not investigate if it puts themselves in harm's way. That is it. They will go after and prosecute people who will not be resisting, or people who can be easily overpowered, and it won't be difficult politically because they're white. But if it is somebody who is from an ethnic so-called minority, even though Cheetham Hill Road, just the North Road out to Manchester City, is supposedly the most diverse road in Britain. So, are they really a minority? But nonetheless, sure. And then in Fallowfield-on-Rusholme and Levensham as well, just south of the city, very diverse place, if you will. That the police will not wish to go after those people from ethnic backgrounds that would be politically disadvantageous for them, because they are too concerned about having their own jobs on the line, so they're not going to investigate. So the political climate which Andy Burnham wishes to foster, along with Lucy Powell, the MP, makes their job particularly difficult for even the police force that wish to actually do their job and to serve and protect. And considering that Andy Burnham is still going to be overlooking the Greater Manchester Police, I don't think there's a lot of hope yet. And I am sincerely hoping that Mancunians will realise this and decide, maybe it's time we tried somebody else and we boot out Andy Burnham and Lucy Powell and get in somebody that might take this more seriously. However, the demographic changes might be too serious in order to overcome as of yet. But of course, this is the same Greater Manchester Police Force that was led us down through the Manchester Arena bombing, and it's the same Chief Constable that's been serving the public for 32 years, nearly 13 of which as a Chief Officer in Greater Manchester Police. So of course he did oversee the grooming gang scandal, he did oversee the amount of reports that were coming through, and he did of course decide to not go after the perpetrators, and instead to just communicate with Labour-run strongholds around here in order to ensure that the paedophiles were not prosecuted because of their skin colour, and defend them instead of the girls who were being raped and targeted and groomed. So, hey, I'm very glad he stepped down, and I wish Burnham and Powell would do the same. Because there's one thing where you're letting down your constituencies because you're not quite understanding the correct tax rate, but there's quite another when you've got tens of thousands of people having crimes unreported and being targeted, being vandalised and stolen from, and then of course leading to being killed. At that point, you're more than just letting down your constituents. You're essentially lying to them and using them as political pawns. And that is overstepping the line. That's not just a political disagreement. That is such a tremendous moral difference that you failed at your job in any sense of the definition. So well done, Ian. Let's hope you lead the way in your compatriots stepping down as well. And maybe we can get some people who actually care about the wellness of Manchester and what made it great in the first place, and might make Greater Manchester even greater. But as always, let me know what you guys think down below. Always intrigued to hear what you guys have to say. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Really does help the channel out a lot. And as always, until next time, have a good one.